Right, so there we have it, my friends. The KEB 100 bass guitar, circa 1968 possibly, made in Taiwan, is fully restored and really ready for someone to have a lot of fun with. But before I go any further, it's a bit of a confession time, I guess. Let's have a look what's under that bridge cover. So the bridge has taken quite a while for me to get working. As you can see, my original idea of dispensing with these compression springs, replacing them with nylocks, simply didn't work. What happened was when I locked the two nuts that were here in place, it stopped these screws from pivoting, and they need to pivot to enable you to raise and lower the action. And I've gone back to the original screws, back to the original springs, and you know, to a certain extent I'm quite happy that I've done that, because it's still 100% original. So if you're familiar with this type of bridge, you're probably saying, he's got the saddle the wrong way round. And yeah, to cut a long story short, I have. I found that when the saddle was the other way around and I was trying to adjust the intonation, the saddle kept tilting backwards. So the remedy was to put the two height adjustment screws behind the saddle, and that really works very, very well. So with the bridge set up this way, I've got a good action, I'm happy with that, and really I've got a kind of a good average intonation across those four strings. The only way to get that intonation better than it currently is would be to replace the bridge with one that has individual saddles, and of course that bridge would no longer be original and it would detract from the instrument. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that the way it is. So when I got the bass, it clearly had a number of issues. So yeah, let's have a look at some of those. So the main issue with the bass was its playability. So let me just talk you through some of the things that I've done to improve that. So the first job was to adjust the truss rod, and you saw in one of the previous videos the extreme method that I adopted. And now with it under tension, if I put a straight edge on top of all of those frets and put a feeler gauge about halfway along between the top of one of the frets and the underside of the straight edge, there's a gap of about 0.7 of a millimetre, and that is really just about what you want, because you do need to have some kind of natural relief along the length of the neck. The bass had an incredibly high action which needed to be lowered because of the overall kind of geometry of the instrument and its components. I couldn't physically lower the strings much, so in order to lower the action, the fretboard had to be raised up, and that's been achieved by placing a shim between the neck and the body, and really that works incredibly well. So as far as the action itself is concerned, on the first string at the 12th fret we've got a gap of just slightly over 2 millimeters, and on the 4th string at the 12th fret we've got a gap of just slightly over 2.5 millimeters, and really that's a good low action for a short scale bass guitar. I must admit that occasionally it will rattle and buzz when you play the frets at the top end here, but really that's the price that you got to pay for a really low playable action down here. By all means you can raise the action if you want, but this is what I would prefer. This is comfortable, certainly for me to play, and within the limitations of the instrument I think it's really good. So getting the bass playing well, playing comfortably, was clearly one of my main aims with this. You would have seen all of the other sort of remedial restoration work in the other videos, so I won't bore you with that now. But one of the things that I'm really pleased about is that everything on here, apart apart from all of those roached fixing screws which you've seen me replace, is original. Oh, and of course, brand new set of strings. So what you've got to remember about this type of guitar is that they were made in the late 60s out in the Far East by factories knocking them out to really cash in on the guitar boom. And it was really never meant to be an instrument for the discerning player. And, you know, I doubt if this had ever seen the inside of a music shop. It was probably sold in Woolworths or one of those great big catalogues that you used to see, mail order catalogues where you buy something and you pay about £5 a month for. So as I say, it was never really a player's instrument. And I've got no doubt, there's no doubt in my mind, that I've probably spent more time on this, restoring it, than went into its original construction. But that said, I'm really glad, because what I think we've got here now is a very nice, playable guitar that someone, as I say, is going to have a lot of fun with. So what's it like to play then? Well, from a purely ergonomic point of view, I think it's great. I mean, it just really sits there on me very, very comfortably. I'm not overstretching or anything like that. The guitar itself is really incredibly light. There's not a lot of neck dive because obviously you've got these lightweight tuners. So yeah, from that point of view, I think it's really good. And to be honest, if I was going to make myself a bass guitar, I would look very carefully at the dimensions of this, the relationship to sort of the end of the fretboard and where that waist is, because I think that's crucial for the whole thing being comfortable. The string spacing is a little bit narrower than you'd be used to if you've been playing Fender instruments, etc. Most instruments nowadays, the spacing at the saddle is 19 millimeters from centre to centre, and this is about 15-16 millimeters, so it's a bit narrower. But then again, if you look at all of the kind of vintage instruments, they are around that sort of area. So yeah, ergonomically, I think it's really good. So what does it sound like? Well, to cut a long story short, I think it sounds really good. I've got it plugged into an old bass combo that used to be my son's, not the best amp in the world. And of course, the workshop isn't the best place to play a bass guitar because everything kind of vibrates and rattles. I can understand why people record in recording studios and not in workshops. But anyway, here's a bit of a taste of, I guess, the range of the instrument and how it sounds. So it starts to get a little bit rattly up there, up the dusty end of the fretboard. hope you agree, it's really sounding good now, isn't it? So what we've really got here then is a nice little vintage bass guitar. It's been completely gone through, and I've got absolutely no doubt that this is playing better than it ever has. And yeah, I'm really pleased with what I've done, taking this almost a wreck of an instrument and brought it back to life. And I think whoever gets to own this in the end is going to have great fun playing it. I mean, I'm certainly enjoying it. But I obviously need to make room for other projects. So if you're interested in owning this, these guitars aren't particularly valuable. I guess the value in this is the fact that I have gone completely through it, and it's probably one of the best playing ones that you'll find anywhere in the world. So if you're interested in this, I'm kind of looking for offers around the £200 mark. So if you want to contact me, please email me via my website, and yeah, we'll see what we can do. But thanks for all of the interest that you've shown in these videos. Lots of views, lots of interest. So yeah, until the next project, you take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.